So today's Japanese slang term, or I should say slang terms, are DD and Hako-oshi. These are related terms, but they're not the same, so let's make sure you don't get them confused. Now, DD is a shortening of Daredemo daisuki, or I like everybody. This refers to someone who is a fan of or who stands multiple people across multiple groups, multiple media products. In short, they have a lot of oshis scattered across a lot of different things. So when this person, for instance, refers to themselves as having a DD tokuyu no nayami, they are saying that they have a special trouble in being a DD because in a competition like this where multiple idol groups are competing, they have to support multiple ones. Likewise, when this person calls themselves Kanari DD, they're mentioning that they're fans of all of these different people spread across different idol groups such as Honey Bunny and Kimi ni Mune Kyun. Indeed, there can even be kind of self-depreciatory use, as in this person who calls themselves a DD Yaro, or kind of a DD bastard, as they note that they'll just stan any girl who's cute. Indeed, this sort of I'll just stan anyone vibe and self-depreciating use actually relates to at least what people say is the origin of DD. Now, as you've seen in the examples, it's often used self-referentially in a way that is neither positive nor negative necessarily, but when it first started, which according to Newman Tokyo was in the 1990s, I can't prove that, but that's their claim, it was a more negative term used to sort of criticize people who are wishy-washy about their oshis. You gotta pick your favorites, right? Well, at least that's the mainstream mindset. DD were seen to sort of not have the level of commitment that one needs in their oshikatsu. At least, unless you have a lot of money, I suppose. Again, I can't prove this origin, but I can say that I found clear uses of DD going back to 2006, 2007 on Twitter, which is when Twitter started, as in this one here, where somebody talks about how because they are a tan oshi, or someone who only has a single bias, the definition of the term DD is irrelevant to them. Now, that tan-oshi, though, is a very, very common term, and it specifically contrasts with the other word I mentioned, which is hako-oshi. Now, hako-oshi refers to when you stand or have a bias of an entire group. So the difference then between DD and hako-oshi is that DD is very, very random and spread across things, whereas hako-oshi is contained to a single unit, at least traditionally. This person here, for instance, has their Twitter handle as BMSG Hako-oshi and notes how they're fans of basically everyone in the BMSG music group, which is a number of groups, so certainly expanding beyond the traditional definition of Hako-oshi. For more traditional, you can see this person here, who notes that they were initially a Hako-oshi of Volt Action, a 4-person VTuber group, but now they've become a Hako-oshi of a 8-person group called Chatu A. So here it's one group versus one group, with the Hako-oshi fitting in that usual definition. Now, from what I can tell, it looks like Hako-oshi might be a little bit of a newer term than DD. If we're going to take that source that DD came out in the 1990s, well, Hako-oshi seems to have come out a bit around 2005. This source here claims that specifically the term appeared with the appearance of the band AKB48, as Hako-oshi does not refer to, they're a set in a box, which you may think it would because that's what makes sense in English, but rather the fact that Hako can be a slang term for a theater or a performing studio, a live house. There's no question that this is true. It appears in mainstream dictionaries, and I was able to find source after source after source which say that this Hako-oshi word comes from this Livehouse reference. They don't mention AKB, but certainly the term could not have appeared before idol groups started appearing in live houses. So the AKB link at least makes sense, even if I can only find one source. Unfortunately, I can't find tweets using it until 2008. Here's one from that period. And Google Trends doesn't really show the term popping off until about 2011. Oldest post I could find on Google, which is problematic because Google's search function is really terrible for going back in time these days because of stuff I won't bore you with, but goes back to 2006. So in this timeline then, DD came out in the late 1990s, and then tan-oshi and hako-oshi came out a bit later, around mid-2000s. Regardless of where they all come from, there's no question that they are all in use though, but do make sure that you don't mix them up. Remember, tan-oshi means that you stand a single member of a group, hako-oshi is that you stand an entire group, or if you're being, a bit revolutionary with it, an entire set of groups all linked under one label, and DD instead is that you just have biases everywhere. Something that nowadays seems to be accepted to some extent, but initially meant that the term was used as an insult. So I guess all I can say in the end then is that I hope that you tan-oshi me as your #1 source of absolutely useless Japanese terminology explanations that you'll never need. See you around.